Hi there, I'm Christy Wilhelmi from Garden Nerd. Have you ever experienced this where your raised beds do really well the first couple of years and then suddenly they just kind of stop working? They stop growing, things feel stunted, and nothing you do seems to make a difference. Well, I'm going to talk about the number one reason why that happens in urban environments today. As a professional, one of the things I have to do most often is figure out why people's gardens aren't productive. And the number one reason that I come across in urban environments is tree root infestation. So this tree back here, that is a carrotwood tree, that has invaded my own garden. So I wanted to talk to you about it today. Most of the time, I'm a no-till gardener. I simply put a layer of compost on the top of the beds each season, scratch it in with my fingers, and then start planting because I don't want to disturb the soil biota that has formed an entire ecosystem underground, right, Mittens? That's right, we don't want to do that. But sometimes, if left unattended, tree roots from neighboring trees, especially from hedges, privacy hedges like privet and ficus, which they're part of the same family, eugenia, a bunch of other type of hedge trees, yew trees, pittosporum, they all come in and start, once they find your raised beds, they start siphoning away nutrients and water, and your beds stop performing. So let's take a look at the difference between what roots look like that belong there and roots that don't. When you pull plants out of your raised bed, sometimes, and usually I recommend just cutting off the roots and leaving those in the soil because of course there are a lot of biology, fungi and bacteria colonized around those roots, and you want to let them break down and keep feeding on those roots as they disappear. But sometimes, especially if you've got root-feeding nematodes, which happens, hi Mittens, it's a good idea to pull everything out. Now, when you pull out a regular plant, the roots are going to look like this. The roots are mostly large. There are fine root hairs, but those usually break off in the soil. And they are not uniform in shape. When you look at this close-up of it, you can see that the root hairs are really random. They don't have a uniform shape, and they are easy to identify as being part of the plant that you grew. Now, when you look at tree roots, you're going to stick a digging fork in your soil and rock it back, and when that lifts up, you're going to feel a whole bunch of roots rip off from the bottom of the bed. And what they look like, well, let me show you. I unearthed all of these roots from this raised bed last night. All of these don't belong in this bed. And the way you can tell the difference is that the roots have a red texture to them. They're much darker than the roots of your regular plants. And the thatch of fine root hairs, as you can see here, are really uniform all down the length of the root. These guys are sucking nutrients and water out of your beds. And it's important to excavate them every couple of years to make sure your gardens will thrive. Just stick your digging fork in and rock it back, and you'll feel a lot of stuff unearthed from underneath at the bottom of the bed. And when you take this, you can see these are tree roots. They're dark and they're attached at the bottom of the raised bed rather than having grown from the surface. And so you can take a clump of soil and shake it out, and all these tree roots will just kind of settle. They lose soil pretty quickly, and you can take these out. And then you'll be ready to prep your soil and plant again. Sometimes if the problem persists, we have to go in with me and my crew. We go in, we dig out all the soil, we put down a layer of hardware cloth and landscape fabric, and then we return the soil. It's the kind of thing that happens in an urban environment if you've put your raised beds right up against or near, within, I'd say, 5 feet or even more, of a tree, a neighbor's tree, or a row of privacy hedges. So this is the kind of thing that is fixable. It's just something to consider when you are figuring out where to put your raised beds in the first place. There is one other reason why raised beds stop performing, and that is because you've got predatory nematodes, root-feeding nematodes in your soil. But that's going to be for another video. In the meantime, you can go check out the video on beneficial nematodes and learn how to apply them to your soil, and then we'll talk about this in another video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can find out when our next video comes online. Consider becoming a Patreon subscriber to support all the free stuff that we do here at Garden Nerd, and of course, check out my books, Grow Your Own Mini Fruit Garden and Gardening for Geeks. Thanks so much for watching. Happy gardening.